means that place. Krot is shocked that he'd suggest something like that, but oh well, everyone's already heading out. I thought they were going to the house of the world's oldest profession, but that's not the case. They're just out there in the middle of the city where there's food, a little party going on, when suddenly, someone welcomes everyone. Another fanboy enters the scene and already pulls Krot's arm, saying this place has the best alcohol in town. Apparently, Calyx already recognizes it and comes in, saying the place seems pretty good. Inside, it's just a normal little bar, and everyone's asking why Krot isn't drinking. He replies that if anything happens to the young master, he has to be at 100%, so he's going to avoid that. Our boy, who was observing, then sees the guy who pulled him in at the entrance and calls out to him, who turns around kind of confused. Calyx walks over, telling him to come closer and asks if there's a quieter place or even another shop would be fine. The kid replies that there is, but obviously, if he takes them to another place, he's going to run into trouble. Besides, it seemed like his men were enjoying themselves, so he did me too. Calyx, however, says he just needs a guide to take him and one other person to a quiet hall. He tosses a gold coin in the air and says that will be the payment. The kid grabs it all happy and says he gets it, but in return, he'd have to leave the rest of the nights they're eating and drinking. The boy says that's fine and calls for Krot. Sometime later, they're in the city, with the kid showing them the way. Our boy asks if he's lived in Poznu for long, and he says yes, for over 10 years. That surprises our boy, who says he doesn't even look like he's 10 years old, which makes the kid swear, saying he's 14. Krot is just laughing at the two of them, but then Calyx asks, if he's been there for 10 years, he must know who the strongest person in Poznu is. A little embarrassed, the kid says it's probably Mr. Omar, who is the leader of the Steel Shield mercenaries. But the truth is, he's never fought the other 3 leaders, so maybe it's just a rumor. Calyx tells him to talk about the other 2 groups then, and he's surprised that the boy doesn't know anything. But he explains the other groups are the Red Wolf and the Black Wing. Together, the 3 make up the largest mercenary groups in the city. Our boy asks how the spring hunting went, and he replies that since the taverns are packed, it definitely wasn't bad. But apparently the adults are worried because something called the supermoon is coming. At that moment, the kid says they've arrived. Everyone is standing in front of a giant mansion. A super dark-looking girl suddenly shows up, saying she knows they don't have a reservation. So what are they doing there? Our boy takes a look and says it was this kid who guided him there. The woman says Yurine did that again, but she loses her temper, saying they're closed today and asks them to leave. But then she notices something strange and catches Calyx's gaze. It seems like he's looking at the ring, and that looks a little worrying to her. I don't know why. Maybe the boy is into married women. At that moment, the guy tries to say that Yurine didn't guide him properly, so they'll have to give that coin back. The kid gets startled and says that's not true. He guided them just fine. Then he hides and says that now he realizes they weren't looking for women, but for information, so he's not giving that back. But then the woman calls Yurine's name, and he starts